All right, welcome back. In this episode, we are going to work on the handle. We're going to work on the frame for the ghost trap, and we're going to work on the doors. So, first thing you want to do is you're going to want to get your M6 nut, and you're going to want to kind of tap it into place on this center forked one right here. Right, make sure it's about as centered as you can get. It's going to spread the forks out just slightly, just due to the amount of clearance it has. So it's going to spread these out a little bit. So once that's there, this is going to go like this. Okay, this is your handle assembly. And it's all designed to retain that nut in there, so that way when you put your handle on, you can put a screw straight through it. As you can see, these holes right here, the square holes, you can fill those in if you want, if you choose to fill those in later. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to countersink this first plate right here. So when I say countersink, you're going to get your drill bit with this drill bit right here. It's a countersink drill bit, and then you're gonna give it a good drill like that, and then when you drop your bolt through it, you want it to feel flush. Now this is completely optional. You don't have to, because this is going to be hidden inside the battery box, but I like to be flush so that way it doesn't snag on any of the wiring and whatnot. So that's why I go ahead and countersink this one. All right, looks like my battery's dying. Let's see if I can get this one. Yep, it's almost dead. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and fish them through again. It's close, but not good enough. Let me go see if I can grab another battery. In there good. Let me check the fit. All right, as you can see, it's almost flush. It's good enough for me. Like I said, yeah, that one too. So the next part of this is you're gonna want to get your metal adhesive and spread it on here. Try and keep it out of this little center hole here, because that's the hole that when you go to assemble it fully, your inner box, if there's that hole has any filler in there, it's going to be difficult for you to get the handle in place. Not the handle, the top piece, the top opening panel. So go ahead and put a good amount of stuff in there. Then we're gonna drop in our centerpiece, and we're gonna add some more filler. Make sure you get it around these forks here. Just try not to get it inside the nut threads, right? Because you don't want to accidentally get it in there, because you will have issues. You'll have to retap that nut. Just get it in there good. Make sure you get it in there everywhere on this piece. Then you're going to get your other piece that you countersunk, lay it on top, and go ahead and push your your screws all the way through. Push them all the way through, flip it over, put your nuts on the other side. That's okay if you get a little bit of the stuff on these nuts, because once you put this together, you're never going to take it apart. Okay, get your wrench like this, get your crescent wrench, tighten the hell out of that screw. Some of that adhesive should be squeezing out, which is fine. Okay, now we have it at this point right here. What you're going to want to do is where these three seams are, you're going to want to get your filler adhesive and just kind of paint over them heavily, right? Like so. Because later on you're going to sand it off. You want that to be smooth so it doesn't look like you have a three-piece, it looks like one solid piece, right? And you want to go about a ½ inch or so down, because you'll see it when the box is closed, just like that, right? You can clean this off. Flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. And that's just for aesthetics, so for when you go to sand it, it looks like a smooth plate, right? Because once again, this could have been entirely machined, but then we're getting into the cost of, you know, a couple $100 just for this piece. So it's far cheaper to glue this and then add some filler to it than to CNC it. Like I said, you can go and fill in these square holes if you want, so that way those are filled in as well, but that's pretty much it for this piece. I'm going to set it aside and let it cure for 24 hours. Next, we have our doors. So you'll notice these little square marks on our doors. So you want to keep, when you do your assembly, you want to dry fit them and make sure both of these are on the same side. So when it closes correctly, both of these tabs are on the same side when you assemble them. If you don't, you'll have one on this side and one on this side. That's where your servo mounts are going to go. So if you have them on opposite sides, you're going to have to move your servos to those sides. So let me go ahead and grab my tabs. Okay. Your kit should have came with two little tabs like this. They're little tiny tabs. These are your servo mounts. Make sure you do not lose these. Set these aside. And we're going to start on one of these kits. All right. So when you're doing these kits, you're going to pin them similarly to the same way we did the opening square. It's going to use these little pins here, like this, and it's going to use the same adhesive you've been using so far. So let me go ahead and mix up a little bit more of that. Now, this is the adhesive we've been using throughout our build. This is JB Weld steel reinforced epoxy. This stuff is super strong. Once this cures in 48 hours, ain't nothing coming apart. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to grab this piece here, and you're going to pretty much paint this entire piece with the metal adhesive, right? I normally use popsicle sticks, but I can't find them for the life of me. I can't find anything in my workplace because I'm very disorganized. I got everything scattered everywhere. So I found this old T-Mobile card from the new phone I got, so I'm using that. So you're gonna want to make sure you have some Q-tips available so you can get in all the crevices when you clean it up, because this stuff will squeeze out everywhere. Otherwise, you're gonna have a little bit of gap, and you don't want the gap where the two doors meet up in the center, because if you do, they're not gonna sit flush. So definitely pay close attention to that area. Okay. As you can see, I've painted the entire piece on that side. I'm gonna flip it over and lay it down on top of the other piece, right? So you're gonna have to get back to those C-clamps I told you guys about. That's these things. You're gonna make sure you have these available, because you're gonna wanna clamp it after you hammer the pins in, just so it doesn't pop back out. So the way you do your pins is you get your little pliers, needle nose preferably, just so that way it'll hold the pin like so. And then you place the pin in the hole like so. Give it a tap so that it starts going. Make sure you line it up again, the piece. And once it's lined up, give it a good tap, and then you'll see that the pin goes all the way through, right? And you want to do that for all hole locations. Grab a pin, line it up. Now the pinning is optional. It's just to keep the glue from while it's the glue's curing. It's to keep the thing from sliding apart. But I like to have these pins in here even afterwards. But if you wanted to, you can line it up with just 3mm screws and cure it. But you know, like I said, I like to have the pins, because the pins go through both aluminum pieces, right? So it's a little extra security. And you only have to do this for this piece and the frame. So it may try and turn on you, the pin. Just, it's okay if it does. Just kind of straighten it out. And then get it in there. See, we have all the pins in there except for the two in the front. So we're gonna go ahead and put 2 more in there, and then make sure we wipe it down, all the excess glue, and then throw some C-clamps on there to keep it in place for 24 hours. Okay, that's coming out nice. If you see that it's not separating, you probably could forego the clamps if you got a nice good adhesion, you know, with the pins. But if it starts lifting up in an area, you definitely want to have the clamps in there. All right, so we have all of our clamps, all of our little pins in place. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it down. All the excess glue off of it. probably throw a clamp on there. Yeah, just give it a good thorough wiping around all the edges, just to get some of that excess glue out of there. Like that. You want to do the same thing for both doors. I'm not going to do the other door on camera because there's really no point. It's the same process. Let me show you the tab. Where is my tabs? Don't tell me I lost my tab. All right, here's the tab. So for the tab, it's the same thing. You just want to make sure it's at least this bottom part right here. It's got a good sanded edge on it because you want to make sure that you get some good adhesion with your glue. Let me see if I can find my file. Oh, here it is. So I'm just gonna run it across the file just to get make that edge not so smooth, that flat surface. All right, and then gonna grab a little glue on it like that, line it up in the little slot. And then get the hammer and tap down. So you should see it come off the other, flush to the other end here. So you know it's in there good. And you can also try and wipe some of the excess glue from the area if you like, you know. And then just let this piece cure for 24, 48 hours, and that's the door. Later I'll show you guys how to do your alignment for your holes for your hinges. But yep, we're gonna set this aside. This piece is done for now. So, all right, so that's pretty much it for the pieces in this particular video here. Next up, we're gonna do the inner box. And then after we do the inner box, it's just the complete assembly. Okay, so I will see you guys in 24 hours and we'll sand down these parts we just did and show you what they look like. All right, we are back and I'm gonna explain the process to assembling your frame for your doors. So what you're gonna do is same thing. After you've sanded it thoroughly with the sandpaper, you're gonna get this metal adhesive. I'm gonna put it on all the way around your door frame. Make sure that you clean up as much as possible so it doesn't squeeze out on your edges. All right. And once you've done that, you're going to set your door frame in place on there. And if you want to, you can use some M3 screws and then just drop them in place to kind of guide you through the holes, right? Usually put them in these two corners here. Let's see if I can find that thread in. Just to keep them, your frame aligned, right? So that way you can, when you're tapping your pins in place, you don't. Okay, so it looks like they're there. So you're gonna order these little pins from McMaster-Carr. They're small pins. Once you have your glue in there, you're gonna use a pair of tweezers or needle nose pliers to kind of hold them in place while you tap them with a hammer. So I just dropped one. These things are tiny, so you make sure you get a good number of them, like 100 pack or something, because you're gonna lose a lot of them everywhere. Right here. So what I'm using is a hammer with a ball peen on it. So I'm kind of place the pin in there and just kind of tap it to get it started. Tap it down, and then with the ball side, kind of give it a little tap to get it flush, right? Once it's flush, you're good. Move on to your next one. And you're gonna do all 6 holes. And once you do all 6 holes, you're gonna wanna just use a pair of C-clamps to hold it together in a couple of spots, right? So go ahead and tap in the remainder of your pins. Let the glue cure for 48 hours. You're gonna do the same thing for your doors as well, because your doors have these little pinholes. If it goes in crooked, kind of try and straighten it out. Yep, that's good. I'm gonna do all 4 of them, all 6 of them rather. And this is just the pins are just basically there to keep it alignment for the glue, the cure. Right? It's 4. Undo the pin, the screws. These are 3mm pins, so they're pretty much should go on there pretty tight. Not too tight, but they're not gonna just fall in place. Right, last one. And like I said, you're gonna do this with the doors as well. Right, let me see if I can find another pin. I dropped one. Or if I can find the one I dropped. I don't see it anywhere. No, I found it. So, last hole right here. Just tap that in. Now you have all 4 of them in. It may lift up in some places or try and bow. Basically, we're just gonna put the C-clamps on it to hold it in place.